Quite some time ago, I decided I was going to start a new regular program on YouTube, and I'd like to explain what went wrong there. I actually had gotten permission from several people. I know I could do this without permission, but I had wanted to do it right. Wanted to do it the best way I could. So I went and got permission from several different people to uh, to use their particular YouTube channels as at least my first view to be able to do some sort of reviews on or something. I unfortunately lost my notes, and so that never happened. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just start this. This is going to be my first episode. I still haven't decided exactly what to call this program. I might label it, I might name it before I post this one, or I might pick something later on. My original idea was to name it something like Thoughts on YouTube. I don't know what's really a good name for it. I've had several other names cross my mind that would be all right for it. Maybe I can get some suggestions from this one if I don't pick a name by the time I post this. But I would like to consider this sort of my first episode in this series that I've planned. The idea behind it being basically it's a series about my thoughts on some of the things I see out there on YouTube. Maybe some random stuff on the internet that I feel like reviewing, mainly positive stuff, suggestions. And I have a format picked out, which, sort of planned, which I'm not really doing in this particular case. But like I said, this is just kind of a getting it started. Consider it a pilot episode. So, with that said, I'll get on with it. What you're looking at right now is actually someone else's video. I'm not sure if I can figure out how to pronounce his name, but it looks like Mr. Cheeky Monkey is back. I'm thinking this is the same person as I was talking to on Twitter. Yep, definitely looks like him. And he made this video about gene pool. Labeled Gene Pool, My Creation, and shows a little pool full of creatures that he let evolve overnight in the gene pool simulation. And down here in the description, under About, if I click Show More, you can see he's actually included the DNA for the Swimbots that he evolved overnight in this particular case. So what I'm going to do is select this DNA, and I'm going to go into Gene Pool myself, and this is actually the same Swimbots that I let run for a while, but I went ahead and deleted the DNA file, so I'm going to have to put it in there again. What I'm going to do is go Pool Empty. So I'm starting out with a completely empty pool, and if I go View Whole Pool, you can see it's a pool full of food, so it's not really empty. These little food bits don't actually evolve. They're just there to give energy to the Swimbots. And if I look at the population graph, you can see there's a little tiny green spot started up here. It's showing 828 food bits, and every so often this graph will update itself, and that number will go up because there are no Swimbots eating them until it reaches a maximum of 2,000. There's 831, 832. It's sort of random. And so I'm going to bring this back down here and bring the bottom back up. Well, close this thing first. and bring the bottom back up a little bit just so you can see where my controls are. This is actually the view button on the bottom. I'm leaving the word view slightly off the screen, just so I won't necessarily have to scroll that up and down so much to get at the buttons. I'm trying to keep as much of this as possible in view of the video. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the Swimbot menu and tell it to put a random Swimbot in the pool, and then back to the Swimbot menu. That will zoom in on that particular Swimbot, and you can see this is my random Swimbot, and I'm going to just save this random Swimbot as Swimbot1, save, and go back to the pool menu and do an empty pool again. So that Swimbot is gone. It's starting over with the original amount of food. And again, the food's going to be building up a little in the background. That's okay. I'm going to go to the folder that I've got my Swimbot1 file saved in. Open it up in Notepad. And I'm going to replace this random Swimbots DNA with the DNA that I copied from the video's About section, and save that as Swimbot1. Now, I'm also going to make a Swimbot2 out of this. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Going to go Edit, Replace, and I'm going to tell it to, now notice here it says Swimbot DNA version 6. That's going to have to stay the same, but I'll go back and replace that. I'm going to tell it to change all the 1s into 0s, replace all the 2s into 0s, replace all, 3 into 0, replace all, 4 into 0, replace all, 5 into 0, replace all, 6 into 0, replace all. What I'm doing is I'm removing all of the information that makes this Swimbot what it is. And I'm going to save that as Swimbot2. So replace all, and then up here put the version number back to 6 because there is no version 0. File, save as, select all files, and just like that one, except change the 1 to a 2 and put .dna. Save. Close that, and there we go. We've got a Swimbot1 and a Swimbot2.dna file. Back in Gene Pool, let's load up Swimbot1. Now, in actual biology, there are life forms that don't need a partner to reproduce. And Swimbots in the gene pool simulation do need a partner to reproduce. So I'm going to give this Swimbot a partner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my Swimbot, not a random one, but I'm going to load up my Swimbot 2 that has had its DNA zeroed out, and there you can see it. It's barely visible. And let them mate together. Now, as you can see, that is a completely helpless Swimbot. However, there are no species boundaries in this simulation. There is nothing saying if the DNA is too different from each other or if they're too physically incompatible that they can't reproduce. So literally any Swimbot can reproduce with any Swimbot. And even though that particular Swimbot is completely helpless, the other one is quite capable of getting to it and helping to pass on its genes, in this case, zeros. So as this reproduction goes on, what you'll notice is that the population begins to emerge as a sort of mixture of the original Swimbot and this mutated um, zeroed out Swimbot. Well, literally not so much mutated as I literally erased its DNA and replaced it with a bunch of blank DNA. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to stop this guy from being able to reproduce. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go view most voracious. That's the Swimbot that's done the most eating. And let's take a look and see just how many pieces of food this guy has eaten so far. So far, it says he's had 7 offspring and he's eaten 6 bits of food. So, Swimbot menu and zap him. So I've just given him a random mutation. Now, is he still the most voracious? Yes. Is he also the most prolific? Yes, apparently so. And so I'm going to mutate this one again. There's a reason why I'm doing this, because I want to make a point. Let's see if I can. There, now I've mutated him rather grotesquely. And this Swimbot is probably not too well adapted to that particular shape. But I'm going to go ahead and select whatever Swimbots I can find that look like that one used to. There's one here. And I'm just going to mutate them until they don't. And let's just see if I can stop these things from being able to evolve to be able to swim. Because as you can see, I'm on the wrong menu again. As you can see, the offspring were not adapting all that well because they were offspring of a zeroed out Swimbot. And so let's see, view most prolific. Oh, that's one of those guys. See, as I said, even though they can't get around, they can still reproduce. So we haven't completely taken away their ability to pass on their genes. But as you can figure, the ones that can make the choice have a slight advantage. So let's see, most voracious. That's got to be one of these guys. So zap him until he doesn't look the same, and find the next one that I can that looks kind of like that and zap him till he doesn't look the same. This zapping, by the way, is just adding random mutations in. Select this one and zap. Now the mutations will happen without me intentionally adding them. But as you can see, I'm adding lots of mutations, and most of these are not beneficial mutations. I'm not choosing whether the mutations are beneficial or not. It doesn't look like any of the ones I'm adding are beneficial. This is to address the question of can evolution work if most mutations are not beneficial? And as you can probably see by looking at these, most of these Swimbots around here are not really doing all that good at getting around. I'm keeping them pretty well mutated out of their original well-developed form. And let's try this one and zap that a few times. There. And how about this young-looking one here? Let's zap him before he even gets a chance to get older. Now, I want to point out that in actual biology, again, mutations do not work this way. If you change the DNA of something that's already grown to adulthood, it doesn't suddenly change to a completely different form. This is a computer simulation. In this particular simulation, this is the way it's done. The DNA decides the body shape, and when you change the DNA, it literally rebuilds the body shape in the simulation. So now I'm going to take a look and see who is the most voracious, and that would be this one. And again, go to the Swimbot menu and zap it. And as you can see, no matter how much I do this, Uh, I'm really not stopping these guys from being able to continue on more or less in their present form. Now, why are we not seeing some new uh, beneficial mutations happening? Well, um, these swimbots are pretty well adapted to their environment. And there is only one environment in here. So, as you can figure, as I'm adding all these detrimental mutations, it's not likely to help much with the population. Now, I know from experience with the gene pool program that if you take a population that has been evolved like overnight, as this one was, and leave it continue to evolve for another night or two, or a week, or several weeks, it will continue to improve how well the swimbots get around. It's a very, very slow process because it's rare to have a beneficial mutation. But the beneficial mutations do tend to out-survive the general population. And so positive changes will eventually happen. And also neutral changes will occasionally manage to become rather popular, to get reproduced enough that you can see them in the general population. But generally speaking, neutral mutations are going to be one swimbot of one type amongst a whole bunch of swimbots of another type, and the chances of that neutral mutation showing up in the general population are pretty slim because there's just the one there to get it started. And as you can see, it's now got a swimbot selected that has only one segment. I think what happened there is that the swimbot I had selected, because I had went to the swimbot menu, it selected that specific swimbot, and I think that swimbot died, and so later on it just switched over to this other one, probably because it used the memory space that old swimbot had been in. So let's see, how quickly can I find these guys and mutate them? Let's go most voracious. Take a look. That's that. There used to be a keyboard shortcut for mutating. I thought it was the Z key for zap. Doesn't seem to work anymore. That's too bad because that would be a much faster way to be able to do this. But I'm just going to go ahead and look for what look like to me, the healthiest versions of the original strain, or something resembling the original strain, and just very quickly zap them into not being that original form. Oops, I hit that one more times than I needed to. And I hope this has made my point rather clear. For people that think that every time there's a detrimental mutation in a population, that should bring the population down. As you can see in this simulation, that's not necessarily the case. And in nature, it is also observably not the case, generally speaking. Now, if you have a very, very small population, say, for example, if you have a population of only 2 and only one of them is capable of producing an offspring, and all of that one's offsprings have detrimental mutations, then yeah. But what are the odds? So, let's see, select this one and zap that a couple of times. Select this one, zap that. Oh, that just turned it into a single segment one. And you can see, really, I'm not even making a dent in it. These guys are just going right on as if I was not doing anything to them at all. Let's zoom out a little and see if I can see any noticeable changes. Here, over here. There's a Swimbot that stands out a little bit. And see, that stands out to a human being, but really it's a neutral mutation. Um, Having a difference in color is not something that is of particular benefit to it. So how about I save that one? Let's see. Save. We'll just call that Swimbot 3. Save that. And I'm going to go ahead and check the population. Take a look and see what does the population graph show. And I'm going to bring this up so you can see it. It's showing after 26,950 time units. It's showing 377 Swimbots and 841 food bits, 833 food bits. It's moving still. And you can see the number of Swimbots is climbing way down right now, or rather up right now. The Swimbots are going up, the food bits are going way down. So if I was going to reset this back to empty and do a different experiment, but I think maybe I'll just leave this run for a little while because the population is going up to where it's going to pass the amount of food available, and we should be able to see some sort of change happening then. So I think what I'll do is I'll pause the recording and let this run for a while and come back to it when there should be something more interesting happening. Okay, and I've started the recording back up. As you can see, the time has now moved to 36,650. Still continuing. I've literally just left the thing running as is during this time. The food bits are starting to level off. They're still in decline, but as you can see, looking at the graph, the rate of decline is reducing quite a bit as the number of Swimbots has gone down substantially, and there aren't so many left to eat the food bits. During this time, I went and sent a tweet out in Twitter, letting the person who sent me the tweet for the original video know that I was making this. I don't know how quickly I'll get a response on that, but at any rate, you may notice the time is getting close to the 40,000 mark. That is important for a reason that you may or may not be aware of. I'm guessing most people won't be, so I'll state it flat out. The gene pool simulation, being a computer program, has some limitations built in. One of the limitations, as I mentioned earlier, is that the number of food bits. I think I mentioned this in this video, this recording. The food bits can only reach up to 2,000. They will max out there. The number of Swimbots also cannot exceed 2,000. If there are 2,000 Swimbots and a pair of Swimbots try to mate, they produce nothing. Another limitation is that when a Swimbot reaches an age of 40,000, it dies of old age. All Swimbots do that in here. I don't know if there are any Swimbots that old right now in this population, but if there are, they are going to start dying soon. And the original Swimbot, the very first one that I put in here, if it exists, if it still exists and has not died off from starvation or something, it won't be around much longer. So I'm going to close this graph. As you can see, the number of food bits is starting now to go back up a little bit. It's hit 94, and the number of Swimbots is starting to level off. So let's take a look at our population and see how close they look to the original Swimbot. Now, what is the most prolific Swimbot in here? Well, it's one of these. And you can see they're not going anywhere. So we've got a bunch of those in the population. And of course, a lot of those are around because, well, because I started with that Swimbot with the zeroed out DNA. And it's got a lot of descendants hanging around there. And of course, there were the mutations I was throwing in earlier. Let's look at the most voracious. Really? That one? Is eaten 10 times. Well, then I guess that's one of the ones that I mutated myself. Because, as you can see, it's not in any condition to go swimming around looking for food. So, what is that one's age? Okay, if I can bring this down so you can see that. That Swimbot has an age of 27,600. So it's not going to be dying of old age anytime real soon. But it's getting there. And I'm just going to zoom out. Take a look at the overall pool. And way down here in the corner I see some activity, and it looks like there's no food left over there. I'm going to take a look down there. Just select one of the Swimbots at random and zoom in on it. Here, try it this way. Yeah, I got one. There we go. So, rather simple looking Swimbot. And there's one right next to it that looks pretty much like the original. So, I want to make a proposition for anyone out there who still believes that the concept of evolution can't work. A little bit of a challenge. And since I'm expecting those people probably won't have watched this video that far in, I'll suggest that anyone out there who has watched this far and knows such a person, pass along this challenge. Let them know about it. I'm going to propose a sort of simulated speciation in gene pool, because the gene pool simulation has no speciation of its own. There's no boundary, even not even a vague boundary between Swimbots of different kinds to keep them from being able to reproduce together if they're too different. So what I'm going to say is, how about we consider the Swimbots evolving in any one simulation to be one species? Because obviously they can't mate with Swimbots in another simulation. But what we can do, thanks to the fact that this is a computer simulation, is we can bring Swimbots from one simulation into another simulation by saving their DNA file. So, for example, if I wanted to save this one I have selected, it looks like he's about to die. I can go up here to the Swimbot menu and I can click Save, Swimbot 4, Save, and now if I bring up the folder that I have the Swimbot files in, you can see that one's DNA right here. And it looks like a pretty helpless Swimbot. I'll go ahead and include that one's DNA in the description of this video, so you can copy it if you want. And I will also include the DNA of, well, let's see. My Swimbot 1 is the, well, I'll do all Swimbots 1 through 4, but what I'm going to do is, since Swimbot 1 is right now containing the original DNA that I started with and not anything that I've evolved through my continuation of the simulation, it's actually somebody else's Swimbot DNA. I'm not going to duplicate that because you can find that on their video. Instead, I'm going to find a most prolific Swimbot, which right now is a single segment one. I'm going to wait until that's no longer the case, and I'm going to save over the Swimbot 1 DNA that I have, and I will include that as a healthy Swimbot from this population. And what I'd like to suggest as my proposition to people out there that believe that evolution can't work because they consider it too random of a process, and therefore life forms have to be designed, is I would suggest to these people to get the gene pool simulation from swimbots.com and go ahead and start up a pool and create a random Swimbot, and then save it. Just go up here to the Swimbot menu and click on random, and it'll produce a random Swimbot. And then with that one selected, from the Swimbot menu again, click save and pick 1 through 4, whatever number you want to save it as, and go into open up the file that you get in Notepad or some other text editor, and modify the DNA and see if you can produce a better Swimbot through your design than what we get by evolving them. As a matter of fact, I'll even go a step farther than that and mention that also in the Swimbot menu, there is an engineer button that you can click on, and you can get at the various specifics of the Swimbot's DNA and not even have to edit it in Notepad. And if I scroll this up, you can see there's a little more there than fits on the capture area of my screen right now. And I'm not going to mess with the DNA of the Swimbots in this pool right now. I'm just letting them evolve. I did randomly mutate some earlier, but I'm not going to actually try to engineer them. But I know there are going to be people out there that are going to think, well, maybe I snuck in there and engineered someone when I had it paused or something. Well, I didn't, but that's irrelevant. And I want to show that to be the case to anybody who thinks such a thing by challenging these people to go out and try it themselves. Try to engineer a better Swimbot and see if you can do it without using the evolution process, without allowing the Swimbots to reproduce on their own, to test out your changes and select what works best. See if you can find a way to simply tweak a better Swimbot and right off the bat have it beat the evolved ones. And if you find a Swimbot that you think is better suited for the environment of this pool than what you started out with or what you were able to find in the evolved ones out there, go ahead and publish your findings out on YouTube. Make a video, show what you've done, and include the Swimbot DNA in the descriptions so that other people can copy it. And I will also say, if you would like to try to introduce gross mutations into the overall population of Swimbots out there, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and make your worst case scenario of a Swimbot that just can't survive, and put the DNA out there and tell people, here, here's my contribution to the total gene pool. See what you can do with it, or whatever, and see if that keeps the more adapted Swimbots from existing. I think you can already figure out it's not going to. it won't make them disappear. Go to the graph, and I want to take a look and see. Okay, our time is up to 59,500 right now, if I show that to you. Number of food bits is back up to 273, and the number of Swimbots at a nice, neat 100. And it looks like it's pretty well leveled off the number of Swimbots. It's still going up and down, just not much. And the food bits look like they're getting pretty close to leveled off at close to 3 times the population of the Swimbots. So, bring this back down and close that menu. And view most prolific. That would be this one. And now I'm thinking I could save this as Swimbot 1. Yeah, I'm just going to. I was thinking I might engineer it and maybe make it a different color. Well, that one looks like it's going to die, so I'll just let that go ahead and happen. I was thinking I could make it a different color by engineering it, just to be able to tell it from the original. And I don't know if I should do that. It's not necessary. It would be, of course, neither beneficial nor detrimental to the Swimbot itself if I did. You know what? I think I'll look and see if I can find one in the population that has randomly mutated to another color. Let's see. View whole pool. And no, they all appear to be pretty much the same color. I don't see any distinct differences in that. I see some dark colored ones here, but I'm guessing that that's just that they're dying. Let me take a closer look. If I select something in that area and zoom in, close that. Is this a healthy Swimbot? Food bits eaten 5, number of offspring 5. Well, I guess it's not dark because it's dying. That's one of the things this simulation does is it darkens them up as they die, but this one appears to be just naturally that color. So I'll go ahead and save that. That will be my Swimbot 1. I'm not sure just how healthy it is. Save Swimbot 1. I might replace it if I find something more interesting, but for now that'll be it. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that. And I'll go ahead and post this video. And hope somebody will take me up on my challenge. In the meantime, I would recommend that you go and see the original video. That I got the first Swimbot from for this simulation. I'll try to post a link to it up here somewhere. And like, subscribe, however that works. Encourage me to do some more of this if you like it, please. Thanks. And I should be able to add a link to this person's channel or to this video after my video's been edited. Down here in the About section, there's the DNA, and there's the evolved Swimbot from the other YouTube video. Well, I've just got done editing what's turned out to be about 40 minutes long. So I don't want to add much to it, but I did want to mention that during that time I have left the gene pool simulation running, and I plan to make another video starting with where that one left off. I'll give you a glimpse of it here. Um, the person who made the video that I was inspired to make this one based on also contacted me, sent me a couple of tweets. One saying that they have left their Swimbots continue to evolve and they're now blue, as I understand it, and also that they have uploaded another video. Or rather, in the process of uploading it. If it was finished uploading, I'd add the link in here. But I will look for that link and try to include it in my next episode, which I'll be working on as soon as I finish adding this last little piece in here. I hope people will enjoy this series. I would appreciate some feedback, anything that would help me to improve it. Thanks.